As for the final police report of the day, the local McDonald's was robbed of 300 Big Macs last night. The only witness was a 7-year-old girl, who drew this image of the thief. Police have already determined their prime suspect. Anyways, that's it for the news. Stick around for a non-current affair, starring Toby Leishman.
Thanks, Margaret, and for the 20th time, it's Leishman. It's always a privilege hosting the non-current affair, and especially tonight. For this episode, we have the pleasure of meeting with the famous business owner, Jacob the Autistic Armitage.
What did you just call me?
Anyways, Jacob here is well known for having ownership of one of the largest containment facilities in the world, known to most as simply the basement.
Well, we call it that, but it personally prefers Jerry.
Moving on. The basement is known for having quite a few prisoners in its chambers. Is there an exact number, Jacob?
Last stock we took was about 5 billion inhabitants.
Seriously? That's an impossibly large amount. How do you secure them all?
Well, the basement is extremely expansive. To start off with, it spans much of the underground space of mainland Australia, although it's probably less than most people would think for 5 billion prisoners.
And why would that be?
The cells are very efficient. To put it in common terminology, each cell is about a 2 by 2 by 2 meter cell, which allows for about 250,000 inhabitants per square kilometer, and that's just for one floor.
Whoa, hold on. There are multiple floors?
For optimum space efficiency, yes. We've currently got 5 floors, but I haven't got the permit to establish the 6th due to some legal difficulties with the South Australian government.
Right. Wait a second, you haven't had legal difficulties until you got to the 6th floor?
No, we have had some difficulties. We had struggles with the 3rd floor due to water pipelines, but we got around that. However, the 4th floor was more challenging due to the pressure of the above layers, and the only material that was known to work was titanium-infused steel, which we needed a license to use. We had conflicts with that, so we tried to find out a solution, and then we found it.
We? Who's we?
Well, me and an assistant of mine that helps to manage some of the Queensland sector of the basement.
And that is?
His name is Jontius Talus, and in our most difficult time, he discovered the bohemium alloy.
I've never heard of the bohemium alloy. Sounds as real as Will being skinny.
Well, I don't see why you should have. It's been kept secret between the basement shareholders ever since it was discovered.
May I ask what the alloy is composed of?
Can you ask? Yes. Will you get an answer? No.
I'm not surprised. Anyway, so the bohemium alloy was what allowed the basement to extend further?
Yes. It is one of the only materials on Earth that can both withstand high temperatures and pressures simultaneously. With the body heat from the basement, geothermal activities, and the high weight of the previous floors, they were 2 necessary properties. However, there was a downside.
And what was that?
The bohemium alloy has one sole weakness. It's not anything that makes sense either.
Go on.
Cheese. Cheese from the black and brown spotted cow, to be exact.
There isn't such a thing as a black and brown spotted cow.
Oh, but there is. You just don't know of it.
What? Is there only one of them in existence?
Correct. Surprisingly enough, there is only ever one of them in existence on the Earth.
If that's the case, why don't you just get rid of the cow and get on with the expansions?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really get rid of it. We did tests. Whenever the cow dies, it is reborn somewhere random on the planet. It makes no sense, and it is extremely inconvenient. But not as inconvenient as someone else having the power of the cheese.
Have you ever wanted to take the bulk too far? Well, look no further than the Will Smith Cookbook, full of the recipes to make you capable of exceeding the size of galaxies in no time! With 400 interplanetary recipes and an exclusive foreword from Queso, it's a must-read. The cookbook hits the shelves in just 3 days, so keep your eye out. It won't be hard to miss. Do you love music? Do you want to get in the mix of one of the best concerts in the world? Then look no further. The famous piano accordion player Isaac Jonas Newtonium is playing in the Empire Theatre this Saturday, with epic hits such as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and The Among Us theme, the latter of which will include a solo from Corinne Hobbs playing the triangle. Tickets are live now at www.empiretheatre.com/Newtonium. Disclaimer, no refunds will be given even if Mr. Newtonium doesn't show up. It's capitalism, baby.
So, how do you solve this problem of the cow respawning?
We trap the cow, obviously. We have a cage in the basement specifically for it. The walls aren't made of the bohemian alloy, but rather another strong alloy that can keep it contained. However, it doesn't solve the problem of the cow dying.
Do you have some sort of protocol you follow when a cow dies? If it's that important?
We most certainly do. It's called Operation Wilfat. We lock down all the cells and we immediately spread men all over the world and try to locate the new location.
What's been the worst Operation Wilfat in history, out of curiosity?
One could argue the Antarctica respawn of 2008, but it's the most recent one in 2023 that is considered the worst.
Where did it spawn that time?
North Korea.
How'd you get in there? North Korea is heavily militarized, and I doubt you'd be able to go to war with them over a cow.
It was difficult, considering we don't have great relations with that country. But we found a way. Jontius Talus volunteered to parachute out in the Chinese airspace and cross over into North Korea, which was risky but successful. Thankfully, the cow was in a paddock far north and not reported by any of the locals, so we managed to get it out rather quickly. Still, it was an extremely dangerous mission.
This is just a quick reminder, please do not try any of these activities at home. Both Mr. Armitage and Jontius are trained professionals, although in what, I don't know. Anyways, back with the broadcast.
I can imagine. Just a couple more questions for you, Jacob. Are the prisoners treated well? I know they get 2x2x2 meter cages, but do they get fed enough?
They get fed fine. Most of the time we just import a bunch of grass or occasionally some corn. It does give them enough nutrients, so it is legal. We do still have a few complainers, but they can't do much about it.
I mean, if they're stuck in bohemian alloy, they really can't do that much. Okay, last question. Has there ever been any law enforcement that has tried to liberate the basement from you? Surely someone has tipped the police once, considering the size of the basement.
Yeah, we've had a few run-ins. The most well-known instance was a police attack was in 2017, when someone leaked the Alice Springs entrance. That's been on the news before, hasn't it?
Oh, it definitely has, yeah. I think we will be showing that to the audience now.
A police group tipped about the inhumane treatment that has occurred in the underground complex known simply as the basement launched an attack from an entrance located in Alice Springs. Although the police numbers were strong, and some prisoners freed, there was a large and heavily armed force waiting inside the basement entrance, led by the man in this police sketch. His eyes are shut for some reason, but nevertheless his defense of the basement was strict and vigorous. The police will not find it so easy to launch an attack again.
Anyway, that attack liberated about 200 prisoners, but they didn't expect the extent of our forces, especially being led by Jontius. And so they did have to retreat in the end. We are well prepared for those sorts of situations.
Well, thank you, Jacob, for being here today. It's a privilege being able to learn about all the features and questionable history that the basement has to offer.
It's been my pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Armitage, the world's greatest cow owner.
Yeah, you heard me right. Cow owner. Jacob doesn't have a basement full of children. In fact, it was never said at all. You can look back through the video if you want. You assumed that the basement was full of children in your head. And you were wrong. Big mistake.
They get fed fine. Most of the time, we just import a bunch of grass or occasionally some corn. It doesn't give them enough nutrients, so it's legal. Oh, I look so rich with these. I've got like 2 watches and a ring and everything. It's crisp. Also, for those who didn't notice, there are 2 microphones. Wait, that side. 2 microphones, so...
Only one of them works.
Yeah. Okay, scene.
And here's colour.
And here's the rainbow.
Here's the gay people.
Oh, I forgot to do my voice thing. Restart. I'm doing a voice.
You're doing a voice?
Yes, I'm doing a voice.
I don't feel so bad about mine.
I'm doing my interviewee voice.
Well, we call it that, but personally prefers Jerry. Okay, redo.
Okay, redo that.